The week's top stories at NBR, including Vector, America's Cup, Air New Zealand, and more, coming right up. Kia ora and welcome to NBR This Week, 100% subscriber funded and proudly brought to you by you, as is every story at nbr.co.nz. Now, a look back over the week's top stories for the last week of March 2022 from our daily video business news bulletin, NBR Today. I'm Paul Brennan. Thanks again for joining us. From Monday, not guilty in Vector private prosecution. A private prosecution brought by Vector against an unnamed construction company involving 17 charges of dishonesty and deception to obtain pecuniary advantage has ended with a not guilty verdict. Auckland High Court Justice Feroz Jargos decided Vector had not stumped up enough evidence to prove the company at the heart of the matter, whose identity remains suppressed, had knowingly submitted false invoices on which it made $1.24 million over a period of some 16 months. The alleged wrongdoing was over a decade ago, and the unnamed company, in liquidation since June 2018, had paid back the money. But Vector had persisted with the case, saying illicit conduct, if left unchecked, could lead to inflated infrastructure costs, which would then flow through to the power prices for consumers. It's NBR This Week, the top 5 business stories from NBR's daily video business news bulletin, NBR Today. From Tuesday, US investment in Sift Technologies. Christchurch-based niche technology firm Sift Technologies has sold an almost 20% stake of itself to a Boston-based private equity investor, Ampersand, allowing it to strike further into the semiconductor market while also diversifying. The company, which is listed on the Unlisted Securities Exchange, today, Tuesday, informed shareholders it had reached a deal that sees Massachusetts-based Ampersand Capital Partners invest $22.8 million in Sift, subject to shareholder approval, for 17.5 million shares at a price of $1.30 per share. Ampersand's total shareholding will amount to 19.6% of total shares post-investment and values the company at about $116 million. Sift shares last traded for $1.25, representing a $90 million market cap. Chief Executive Alex Fowler told NBR the deal came about as a result of Ampersand regularly scanning the market and noticing Sift's rapid growth. It's NBR This Week, the week's top business stories from NBR Today. And from Wednesday, America's Cup 2024 defence decision. Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron member Jim Farmer QC is not involved in any litigation that others may or may not take over the club and Team New Zealand's decision to hold the next America's Cup regatta in foreign waters. The decision to award the hosting rights to Barcelona was announced this morning, Wednesday morning, seemingly bringing closure to a national debate over whether the renowned sailing competition could or should be held in New Zealand waters. He also clarified that he's not aware of any legal action being contemplated by anyone. It's NBR This Week, the week's top 5 business stories from NBR Today. From Thursday, Air New Zealand set capital raise pricing. Air New Zealand hopes a deeply discounted rights offer price of 53 cents will attract investment from the eligible investing public as it seeks to finally throw off the yoke of COVID and refuel its recovery. The national carrier announced yesterday, Wednesday, it's finally launching a $2.2 billion recapitalisation, including a $1.2 billion 2-for-1 pro rata renounceable rights offer. Trading in the airline shares was halted at $1.37 per share at 4 p.m. Wednesday in anticipation of the announcement of the capital raise, which has been delayed over the past year due to uncertain market conditions in consultation with the government. Speaking at a press conference Wednesday night, Air New Zealand Chair Dame Therese Walsh said the discount at which the new shares would be issued took into consideration other deals and discount rates that have been out in the market and with other airlines. She did not specify which airlines and deals had been referenced. This is NBR This Week. Now we're up to Friday's top story, Waste Management sold. A hotly contested race to buy landfill and recycling group Waste Management has seen the business sold in a $1.9 billion deal. Waste Management is owned by China's state-owned Beijing Capital Group, and a sale process has been underway since last year. Investment bank Citi was said to be advising the sale out of Sydney, and it was understood bids closed a week ago. Today, Friday, Australian investment manager Igneo Infrastructure Partners, until recently known as First Sentier Investors, has beaten out private equity giant KKR and Morgan Stanley Infrastructure Partners to buy Waste Management. The deal is subject to Overseas Investment Office approval but expected to complete by the end of the year. The full details of those stories and more are at nbr.co.nz right now. This weekend at NBR, in his weekly book review on Sunday, Neville Gibson looks at the life of Kiwi author Maurice Shadbolt, while Brent Sheether looks at how best to diversify your investments. I'm Paul Brennan. Join me again from around lunchtime on Monday for NBR's Trending Stories, and then again from 5:30 right here Monday for another NBR Today.